No, you want pop, you want, you want rock and roll.
You want it?
This year's remix
Got some phonics.
soul. I got pop, I got
Rockin' electronic
beats. I got hip hop music with the future flow.
How has technology changed the way we listen to music since the CD was introduced? Over the past 35 years, we've gone from listening to music on CD players to listening to it on streaming apps on our phones. The CD all started back in 1979 when Philips and Sony decided to put aside their differences and work together to make it. The first commercial CD released was Billy Joel's 52nd Street. 52nd Street had already been released on vinyl, but was re-released in order to become the first CD. The first CD to sell 1 million copies was Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms CD. There were three main reasons why people loved the CD so much when it first came out, and it definitely wasn't the high price. Jack Halsman, the founder of Elektra Records, once said in an interview, the CD was sexy, and it would bring higher prices, from about $8 for cassettes or LPs at the end of the 70s, to about $15 in the early 80s. CD's sound was clearer, they were more convenient, and they were less fragile, and that drew people to them. CDs also held 74 minutes worth of music instead of the normal 40 minutes that a vinyl had. With the rise of the CD came a whole new problem, a problem that was never even heard of when it was just vinyls. People now had the ability to free digital copies and share them with each other. In 1999, Napster was released by 18-year-old Northeastern University student Sean Fanning. Napster was one of the first peer-to-peer music sharing sites. It encouraged users to share audio files with each other. Not everyone was happy about Napster, though. Artists like Metallica expressed their dislike for the website in videos like this.
You're freaking Lars Ulrich from Metallica. I love everything you do. Well, except for that bad show you hosted.
You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have to whore myself out if you kids didn't steal my music.
Whoa. We're not stealing, okay? We're just sharing with each other, you know?
So it's like if I take this soda can right here, take a sip out of it.
Oh, my God. I'm sharing my soda with Lars Ulrich.
2 years after Napster's launch, a legal battle with the RIAA ended, and Napster was forced to shut down. They later reopened as a legal music buying website. Napster wasn't the only peer-to-peer music sharing website popular in the early 2000s. LimeWire was launched in 2000 by Mark Gordon and wasn't shut down until 10 years later. With the rise in use of peer-to-peer websites like Napster and LimeWire, the music industry was losing money from those who would normally be buying the albums. People were able to take one or two songs that they liked off an album instead of having to buy the entire CD. In early 2001, Apple bought a program called SoundJam for $40 and turned it into what is now known as iTunes. It was advertised as the world's best and easiest to use jukebox software. iTunes helped end people's piles upon piles of CDs. It became a single place where all music could be found and stored. It wasn't until 2003 that Apple unveiled the iTunes Store that saved people from having to buy hard copies of albums. With new Apple software up and running, people needed something to put their music on. MP3s were already around, but Apple changed the way we listen to music when they released the iPod. The first iPod was released in 2001 and had the ability to hold 1,000 songs. People were used to CDs that held about 14 songs each and had to be switched out every time they wanted to listen to a different artist. From 2001 to 2006, iPod sales soared through the roof. Then, in 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. The iPhone allowed people to not only use the device as a phone, but as an iPod. Apple built in an app specifically for music. Later on, streaming apps were introduced such as Pandora, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Pandora, launched before the iPhone was even thought of in 2000, was a website before it was an app. It allowed people to stream over 800,000 songs right to their computers. While using Pandora, users can listen to music related to their desired genre, artist, or album. Even with over 76,000 users, Pandora was never perfect. Pandora never allowed users to pick specific songs to listen to, instead suggesting songs and limiting the amount of skips per day unless a user wanted to pay. Enter Spotify. Spotify was launched in 2008, a year after the iPhone. It is both a website and an app, just like Pandora. Spotify lets users play music by genre, create their own playlists, or listen to specific songs if they pay. Like Pandora, Spotify has a free service option or an ad-free option that you have to pay for. Spotify and Pandora aren't the only streaming apps though. Like iHeartRadio, a free music and radio streaming app and website, also lets music consumers listen to music without actually having to pay for it. While people who love music may be enjoying this phenomenon, artists aren't too fond of it. The amount of money an artist gets paid for streaming is near to nothing.
They're not going to make any money. The royalty, the money they see is 0.00006 of a cent. I might have left a zero off there.
Artists like Taylor Swift have openly discussed their dislike for streaming services. Music is changing so quickly, and the landscape of the music industry itself is changing so quickly, that everything new, like Spotify, all feels to me a bit like a grand experiment, Swift said. And I'm not willing to contribute my life's work to an experiment that I don't feel fairly compensates the writers, producers, artists, and creators of this music. I just don't agree with perpetuating the perception that music has no value and should be free. Taylor, someone extremely big in the music industry, is making other artists think about how they feel about allowing their music to be streamed for free. The rise in use of streaming services has also caused a decline in the number of platinum albums. In 2014, only one album that was actually released in 2014 went platinum. Coincidentally, it was Taylor Swift's 1989. There's been a drastic change in the way we listen to music over the years. People aren't buying music like they used to. While in the 90s and early 2000s people used to go out and buy CDs, people are now just streaming music to their phones. The music industry isn't what it used to be. While we as consumers love anything with the word free on it, streaming is changing the game for those who want to become music artists.